Hello everyone, welcome to the Departamento Laboratorum. My name is Max, and today I'd like to try doing something a little bit different. Today, I'm going to be trying out my first tier list, and it's going to be on the Primarchs. But it's not going to be covering how powerful they are, how well written they are, anything important like that. No, it's going to be about something much more important. How cool they are to hang out with. Which Primarch is the best to get a beer with, which one's the best to just sit around and chat with. You know, the important things in life. This is inspired by an Adeptus Ridiculous video from a few months ago, their Primarch tier list, where Shy suggested that they rank the Primarchs based off of ridiculous criteria, like which one would be the best VTuber, or which one is the most killy. That video will be linked in the description, and I highly suggest that you check it out, but this is going to be more chill. I'm not going to be doing any in-depth analysis on the Primarchs. Full disclosure, I've read a lot of the Horus Heresy, but not all of it, so there might be stuff I'm missing. But this is mostly based on vibes anyway, just again, who I would like to hang out with. This is going to be a bit more of an experiment, a bit of a less edited video, so I hope this works out. If you like it, please let me know in the comments. If you don't, please let me know. I'm always looking for feedback. So without further ado, let's enjoy. Let's get started. And first we have all the Primarchs here. We are going to go in Legion order. We're going to start with the Lion. And like I said, this is more going to be for fun. It's not an in-depth look at all of the Horus Heresy or their personalities on like a minute level. It's more just based off vibes. But I suppose first I should go over the tiers and what I think they mean. So S tier, literally perfect. You know, best bros. You always want to hang out with them. They are the life of the party. You know, you will drop everything to sort of hang out and get a drink with them. A tier, really good, you know, really close friend, not quite as perfect as S. Like, you might not drop everything to go see them. They're missing sort of that little special something that would push them up into S, but they're still like, you love hanging out with them. They're great. B tier, this is a good pal. You know, you enjoy it. They might have a few flaws, a couple things that annoy you, but nothing that would really make you not want to hang out with them, not want to see them. So altogether good. C tier, I'd say you probably still consider them a friend. Maybe just, you know, an acquaintance or a friend of a friend that you don't hate seeing, but, you know, you're not going to go out of your way to see them. This is where we start to see more flaws that are kind of going to bother you, and you might start being like, yeah, I don't really like that guy. I don't really want to see him. D tier. This guy sucks. You don't want to be seen with him. You don't want to see him. You don't want to hang out one-on-one if you have the choice. Maybe you'll only see them, you know, through mutual friends or at like a big party, and, you know, you don't enjoy the time. F tier. Cops are getting called. You hate this guy. You know, this is going to be a problem. Like, it's on site. Like, this guy sucks. This guy will fight you. This guy, you are like, I'm getting a restraining order. I never want to see him again. So let's get started then with Lionel Johnson, and he's a good opportunity to talk about how some Primarchs, either for loyalist ones, when they come back from being missing, they might have some personality changes. Some traitor ones, when they become demons, might also have some personality changes. And what we're going to do is we're going to sort of go based off of how they are in the Horus Heresy, because that's how we see them the majority of the time. But then any changes can bump them up or down a tier, maybe 2 if it's very severe. So let's sort of demonstrate that with the Lion, because in the Horus Heresy, I think the Lion is kind of a D tier. He is kind of an asshole, doesn't like to explain himself for anything, very irritable if things aren't done his way, doesn't really understand human emotions or how people think and act, and doesn't really care to. I don't think he really has any close friends, except for maybe Luther, and he ended up sending Luther away, for understandable reasons, but still, like, you know, he's kind of closed off. Killed one of his sons for questioning him about the use of psychers, which the Lion was right, but still a very dick move. He's got some loyalty, especially, you know, to the Emperor and to his cause. But I still think, you know, if you were hanging out with him, you would really not like it. After he came back, he actually said, I'm sorry, for probably the first time in his life, to his fallen sons who hadn't turned to chaos. He recognized that he was part of the problem. That shows growth. He's trying to help defend people in the Imperium Nihilus, which is fantastic. We love to see it. Altogether, it looks like he's trying to learn and grow and become a better person, but I think he's still got a ways to go. But I think that's enough to bump him up to C tier. I think he could probably get up to B tier. I don't know if he could ever really get up to A, just because, you know, how he was sort of raised alone in the forest with the monsters and just general personality traits. But I think he could eventually get up here, but for now, I'm going to say C. Next, we go with Fulgrim. And Fulgrim, pre-heresy, I think he's either an S or an A. I'm going to say A because I think Fulgrim has a really good personality. Like, he's always trying to better himself. He's working with his brothers. He's very skilled. He talks with the Remembrancers in his fleet. He tries to do art. He's got, like, many talents. So you could talk to him about a lot of stuff. He would be great. He didn't seem like too big of a dick. Like, maybe a little bit, you know, a little bit full of himself, but not to any degree of, like, oh my god, this asshole. You know, more like just sort of like, you know, he's not as big as he is, which is why I don't think he gets to be S tier. He's like, there are those little things that knock him down to A. After he turns to Demon Primarch Fulgrim, though, he gets weird. And, you know, he's not, like, awful. Like, I don't think he would be, you know, F tier. He would probably be between D and C tier as Demon Primarch Fulgrim, because he's got some weird interests now, man. And, he's gonna, no sense personal space, talking about, like, a lot of crazy stuff that you don't even know about. Just sort of strange, you know? And, you know, he's still, like, he probably still has some cool things to talk about, cool stuff to show you, but are you really gonna want to, you know, are you really gonna want to see it all? No, maybe one thing out of 10. So I think that bumps him down to B. I think he was a cool dude. He's still got some interesting stuff, and for a certain type of person, they're really going to enjoy hanging out with him, but for the average person, I think Demon Primarch Fulgrim is going to, you know, when you meet him the second time after he's turned to Chaos, it's going to be like, well, this isn't the guy I remember. Perturabo. Okay. Full disclosure, I am not the biggest Perturabo fan. I wouldn't say, there's no Primarchs I hate. There's none that I, like, outright love to. I'm more of a fan of the Legion, and the Primarch is, you know, it's a fun little add-on to that, or something that knocks it down just slightly. But, you know, there's none that I hate. There's none that I'm like, oh my god, this guy. Or there's none that I'm like, oh, he's in it, I'm picking up that book. But Perturabo, he's also kind of suffered from... He's suffered from different writers with different takes on him. Some want to make him this troubled genius, some want to make him this massive asshole. I'm going to take the middle road that I think they've been going with now and being more like, he's skilled, he has talents, and he really wants to be known for those talents, but he just refuses to actually articulate that and talk to people and tell people how he feels. Very closed off. He is going to have a bad day, and when you ask him, how was your day, man? Do you need anything? He's going to be like, it was fine. And then he's going to be mad that you didn't, you know, follow up and ask more questions, even though you told him it was fine. And he's going to think that you don't care about him, even though he could have just said, like, yeah, you know, I've had a bad day. I think we've all known someone like Perturabo. I think that's why so many people relate to him, because it is like a real human thing of, like, I want to be respected, I want to be known, but sometimes it's like, I don't want to be known. I don't want to put myself out there. That can be scary. So I think that's why a lot of people identify with him. But I think if you were meeting that person and hanging out with them, that could get pretty draining. Also, he did decimate a tenth of his legion. So he does have some anger issues. Is still kind of an asshole, like, at the end of the day. So I think I'm going to go with D tier. Again, I don't hate him. I think he's an interesting character. But he's just, if I met Perturabo in real life, I don't think I'd like him. Alright, the con. Alright, this is going to be a good one. I think the con's A tier. So the con is A tier. Because I feel like when you first meet him, he's going to be a quiet guy. Like, you're definitely going to you might have to put in a little bit of effort at first, but once you're able to, like, get him talking, like, you know, he's got a cool motorcycle, he loves, you know, the outdoors, he's has all of these interests, and he's pretty clever and witty. I think he's going to be a great guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders. You know, he sort of sees things for what they are. He's pretty practical, he's pretty pragmatic, and he doesn't want to, you know, steal the spotlight. He's not arrogant. I think that the fact that he kind of can be a little withdrawn is going to keep him out of S tier, but I think A tier is perfectly good for him. I would like to hang out with the con. I'd like to get a beer with the con. Leman Russ. So, Leman Russ. Okay. Leman Russ is kind of, he's not like he's an intelligent guy. He's not a bad guy, unless you're, you know, hardcore Thousand Sons fan, in which case probably F tier. I like the Thousand Sons. I'm not a hardcore Thousand Sons fan. So I think that, like, you know, he works really hard. He tries to do what he sees as the right thing and what the Emperor sees as the right thing. He works with people. He is trying to, in his own mind, you know, defend humanity and do what's best. A bit of a hypocrite with the Psyker stuff and the Rune Priests. And he was tricked with the burning of Prospero, but he also did go through with it. You know, you can't really claim, oh, I was tricked into destroying a planet, it's not my fault. And he can be kind of like he can be a little cold. You know, he's not like a boisterous like Viking. He's not gonna be like, oh, come here, let's get a hug. So I think I'm gonna go C tier. I don't know. He's never like Perturabo. I've never been too interested in him. So I could be missing some stuff, and, you know, let me know in the comments if I'm horribly wrong. I will, you know, but I just feel Leman Russ in the Heresy has some problems. He's a little bit too full of himself. He can be tricked. He can be kind of a dick, but he's not like awful. You know, he's not like, he's better than the Lion was. And I feel like if he comes back, and I think he will be the next Primarch to come back, I think he'll be doing like an Odin thing. He'll have lost an eye, he'll have a spear, he'll probably have psychic powers. I think they'll make him into like an Odin-style character. I think that he could probably move up to B, maybe even A, depending on how they do it. But I think for now, I think C tier. Rogel Dorn. So Rogel Dorn, I said before I'm not a Perturabo guy. I'm also not really a Dorn guy. I think he's probably moderately better than Perturabo in terms of, you know, like what I want to hang out with him. Although I think Perturabo is probably the more interesting character because there's more going on there. So I'd rather read a book about Perturabo. But Rogel Dorn, yeah, I think Rogel Dorn is C tier because I feel like Rogel Dorn would be the type of guy. He's going to be there. He's going to be present at the party. He's going to be, if you're hanging out with him, you know, getting a drink with him, you know, he'll chat. He'll probably mostly talk about work. He doesn't seem like the type of guy who would, you know, talk about like hobbies or, you know, like, oh yeah, watch the game Sunday. It's like, no, I was too busy getting ready for my work next week. I'm an architect, you see, I'm building this, and then that's all he's going to want to talk about. He's going to be a good guest, and like he's going to do what he needs to do, but he's not going to go above and beyond. You know, he's going to be perfectly polite and reasonable, but he's not going to do that next step to be like memorable or really nice. And I don't think you're gonna have a problem with him, but I also don't think you're really gonna remember him. All right, Conrad Kurz. Yeah, first resident of F tier. I think it should be pretty obvious why. He would be a serial killer. This is the killer from 7. You are hanging out with the killer from 7. He may try to kill you if he sees you, like, accidentally put your can in the trash instead of the recycling. You know, he might try to kill you for that. But even, let's pretend like he's not a murderer. Let's say that. He's still weird. And, like, even if he was not the murderer, I don't think he would get higher than D tier. I'm gonna still keep him in F, because he is a murderer. And I would, you know, again, another really interesting character to read about. I love the Night Lord's books. I love his books in the Heresy. But I would not want to meet him in real life. And he's also, like, he has that weird prophecy thing that he refuses to try to change in any way. He does not really, since he, you know, sort of raised himself alone in the dark, he does not really understand social norms. You know, all that stuff beyond his control, but it's still gonna, you know, impact the way he acts and the way you see him. And I feel like, you know, you kind of have to take that into consideration, even if it's not his fault. Love to read about him, would hate to meet him in person. Now, this one, Sanguinius. S for Sanguinius. I think that should be fairly obvious. Everybody loves Sanguinius. Very few people have problems with him. I can't really remember anyone who outright hates him. And he's always pretty polite. He always tries to do his best. Obviously self-sacrificing. He's going to try to help you out. Definitely the type of guy who would volunteer to help you move, even if he's just, you know, helped someone else moved or moved into himself. Really nice guy. He does kind of have that little bit of darkness in him, but I feel like, you know, he tries to hide it, and I feel like in a in a party setting, meeting new people, he would still try to hide it. So I don't really think you're going to have a problem with that. I think he's going to be a stand-around guy. He's going to try to make you feel welcome, and you're going to leave being like, that's a really nice guy. I can't wait to meet him again. Ferrus Manus. For the 5 seconds that he is a character, I'm going to say D tier. I think he's kind of a dick. Very focused on, like, just warfare and, like, his legion conquering. He likes making stuff, but he doesn't seem like, you know, he that's just a hobby of his. I don't think he's gonna share that with you. He does make stuff for some of his brothers. He made a sword for Fulgrim. He made a mace for Lorgar. So maybe he'd make something for you, but he was kind of a dick when he gave Lorgar the mace, understandably, but still. I feel like if he sees any flaw in you, or feels like you are not perfect, he's not going to be nice to you. And nobody's perfect, so I feel like he's going to sort of be the downer at the party. Very headstrong. On Istvan 5, he rushed ahead, got himself killed, got 3 legions destroyed. Granted, he was betrayed, but this is, you know, doesn't seem like a guy who would really, like, keep a level head, you know, if he heard something he didn't like at a party. So I'm going to put him in D tier. I think the Iron Hands are also cooler for how they are after he died. Like, their reaction to his death is way more interesting than anything he's done. Alright, next up, Angron. Oh, Angron. I feel bad, but it has to be F tier. It is kind of for reasons outside of his control. But, you know, he is still very violent. He is going to try to kill you. And as a demon prince, he's still very violent and going to kill you. He is kind of uncaring as well, a little nihilistic. He does not care that his sons love him. He doesn't care that they die trying to please him. And it's all understandable, given that, you know, the nails in his head, it would naturally screw you up. But I still cannot imagine, you know, I would want to meet Angron. I would feel bad for him if I learned about him, but I would also be like, yeah, you can never bring him around here again, man. He destroyed the sofa. We had to call the cops. Yeah, just, he needs help. He should be getting professional help. All right, Guilliman. Guilliman's good. I think Guilliman's A tier. I think he does not have sort of the special sauce that would put him up in S tier. But I can't really think of anything he would do too wrong. Like, he's a good guy. He's talented. He's sort of, you know, jack of all trades. He's multifaceted. Pretty confident, pretty competent. Not really a jerk to anybody. He actually had a good parental upbringing, it seems. So, you know, not really a horrible backstory either, like some of these ones down here, poor guys. And I feel like also, you know, after coming back, his personality didn't change too much. A little bit more, you know, cynical, overworked, understandably, but I feel like he'd just want to let loose, you know, when he was off the clock. He'd like to have fun, and I can't really think of too much bad to say about Guilliman. Maybe you might find him just like a little bit like basic, like he doesn't seem like he would be like into like some weird stuff, you know, interesting stuff. But I think, you know, everybody kind of, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with just being like a chill, normal guy, and I think he's a chill, normal guy to a degree that, like, he would be fun to be around. Right, Mortarion. All right, even taking away the fact that he probably smells like shit, at least after becoming a demon prince, if not before. Another sort of very similar to Ferrus Manus, although more developed. Very much just a dick. He is, again, pretty accomplished with his legion, but he feels like he should be known for more. Very arrogant. Hypocritical too, with the Psyker powers, hating Psykers while being a Psyker. That's not fun. He's got some insecurities he's gonna take out. He also loves after victories. He'll choose a warrior. He'll give them a concoction of like poisons and chemicals and have them drink it. He is definitely going to try to force you to drink a shot of Malort. He is that guy, and he's gonna tell you it's really good, and it's not, and he's gonna laugh when you cough. Yeah, and as a demon prince, not really too much has changed, actually. He stays pretty consistent. A little, you know, that demon sort of like timey-wimey nonsense, not really, you know, seeing the future before it happens, stuff like that. But I think that in general, he just would not be a fun guy to be around. Cares about his sons, which is a positive, but it also does kind of seem like, I just get the D tier vibe. I get the vibe like, I would not want to be around Mortarion even before he becomes, one of Papa Nurgle's chosen. Alright, 15, Magnus the Red. So Magnus, I think what we see is he's pretty charming. He's pretty good in social situations. He actually has a surprising number of friends, like the Khan and Sanguinius both like him, Lorgar and Perturabo like him. I mean, obviously, Leman Russ hates him. I think Mortarion doesn't like him because of the Psyker stuff. I think I remember Ferris not liking him, but I could be wrong on that. I think Vulcan also is a friend of his, or at least he likes Vulcan, so he's a little popular. And he's cultured, he knows a lot, he's willing to talk about many different topics. He gets along with Lorgar, even though, Lorgar is religious and he is not. He's also willing to sacrifice to save his sons, a really good guy. So I feel like you would have a good time talking to him at the party, or, you would have a good time meeting with him, just hanging out with him. But major flaw, he always wants to be the smartest guy in the room. He is always going to try to show that he knows more than you. You are going to be talking about something, and he is going to try to be like, yes, I know about that. And in fact, I know about it more. I know this thing that you probably didn't know. So I think that's going to keep him out of S tier, and probably out of A tier too, just because that is kind of annoying. Like, I don't think you'd hate him, but you would sort of be like, all right, dude, like, calm down. I know you're smart. You don't have to brag about it every time. So I think B tier. Horus. Okay, before the heresy, Horus is up in S tier or A tier. I think probably S tier, because everybody liked Horus. I think Korax didn't like Horus, but everybody else liked Horus. He was made War Master for a reason. He was beloved by his sons. His brothers all liked him. All the soldiers liked him. He convinced half of the Imperium to turn traitor because of how, convincing he was, and the groundwork put in by the, word bearers. But still, like, he has a lot of charisma. I feel like if you met him, you would like him. Even without, like, the superhuman charisma, he just seems like he would be a cool dude. So S tier, maybe A tier. He does have a little bit of that pride, but definitely up in the top tiers. However, after the heresy, when he becomes sort of the avatar of chaos, it's another thing with Fulgrim. He gets weird. Like, not in a Slaneshi weird way, but he's just a weird guy now. Sort of does... starts basically getting lost in his own imagination. He's corrupted by chaos. He not able to really bring that charisma to bear. It's just sort of strange. Things are falling apart. Is he really himself, or is he, a puppet of the chaos gods? I mean, either way, he agreed to let this happen just for power, so I think that's going to knock him down. I'm going to say probably to B tier. Also, the fact that, he is willing to turn traitor, that pride and arrogance is probably going to... I'd say put him in B tier. All right, Lorgar. So, story time. The Word Bearers are my... I paint my Chaos Space Marines, which is my primary army, as Word Bearers. I like Word Bearers. All Chaos Space Marines kind of give the Black Knight aesthetic. Word Bearers kind of give the, evil paladin vibes, and I love paladins. I love evil paladins. When I play games, I try to make a paladin, Elden Ring, D&D, anything like that. I try to make a paladin if I can. So I love them. I think Lorgar is an interesting character. I think he's one of the better ones to read about. It helps that the books that he's in are written by some of the better authors in general. That being said, like, Lorgar is very charismatic, so he's got that going for him. But he's very religious, number one, which there's nothing wrong with that. But religion is kind of his whole deal. And I don't know if you've met someone like that, but if religion is not your whole deal, it can get very annoying. If you're another very religious person, he's probably up in, A tier. I'm not that religious, I have no problem with it, but, that is not all I want to talk about. And also, he can be pretty petty and petulant at times when he's not getting his way. He's got that problem. So, I feel like just because I feel like he's got to be a C tier. I feel like he has to be a C tier. Like, the charisma and the fact that he actually does have, like, an interest is keeping him out of the lower tiers. But again, I feel like by the end of the night, you're just going to be like, get another personality trait, dude, please. And if you ever disagree with him, he is going to be upset about it. So I think C tier. All right, now we're going to go to Vulcan. And again, easy choice. Vulcan up in S tier. Vulcan, if you are having Like, Vulcan is going to be making sure everyone is having a good time. He is going to be going around the party. He is going to be making sure, you're drinking water. He's going to keep your drinks topped off. He's going to be asking, hey, do you want another burger? You want to hang out sometime? He is going to remember, and if you meet him again, he is going to, like, remember you and remember stuff you told him. And he's going to make you feel welcome. He's just an all-around great guy. Everybody loves him. As long as you're not Neldar Child, he's going to be S tier. Korax. Korax, I feel like Korax is gonna go in C tier. C for Korax. But I feel bad for him as well, similar to, not as extreme as the ones in F tier. Like, he's gonna be a little bit depressed, he's gonna be a little bit withdrawn. He's not gonna, even before the heresy, he's probably gonna be a bit quiet, he's not gonna be the life of the party. I don't think he'd be rude or anything, but it's just gonna be, that's just not who he is. After the heresy, he's got the depression from so many of his sons dying, and so many of them turning into horrible mutants because of the gene seed flaws with the rapid indoctrination thing. Understandable, completely understandable, but I think that's just going to make him, like, more quiet and withdrawn. I don't think he's going to be rude or anything. He's not, like, in D tier, but I think he's just going to, you can tell he's having a bad time. You're going to leave him alone. You're going to see if he wants anything. He's going to say no, and he's probably going to leave early. Hopefully he's seeing a therapist. Hopefully he's getting the help he needs. Alfarius, and this includes Omegon too, they're probably the one, they could probably go anywhere. I mean, depending on how they're feeling and what they're doing, they could probably, be anywhere. So what I'll do is, I'll say, I think that what would happen is, throughout the night, they would be like, oh crap, I gotta get my keys. I left them in my car, or I left my jacket in my car. Let me go get it. And then they would swap, and they would swap clothes, and it'd be like, Omegon coming back in, and be like, oh, I've got to go to the bathroom. And then it would swap to Alfarius in the bathroom. And, they would keep doing that throughout the night. And they would basically be doing this swap constantly for no reason, for no good reason. And I just think that's funny. So I'm going to put them in B tier because I think that's a funny image. And I really feel like they could go anywhere between, A and C tier, depending on what they're doing. I don't think they'd be huge dicks. I don't really think they could get S tier, and I don't think they would do F tier. So I think B tier is a nice middle ground. And I think this looks good. I don't really have a problem with this. It looks like a pretty good distribution. Little more bottom heavy, which I think makes sense given that, that some of the childhoods of these Primarchs and some of the things they went through, they're not going to be fully well adjusted. But yeah, please let me know what you think down in the comments. If you think I'm horribly wrong, let me know. If you agree with me, let me know. If you enjoyed this, give it a like. And of course, if you have any video suggestions for future videos, please let me know. I am going to be, like I said in my last video, working on a bit of a longer video over the next week or two on a Warhammer video game. I hope you'll all enjoy that. I'm also going to be doing more videos like the one I did for the Emperor's Children with ideas for the army that are lesser known groups from the lore. I'll be doing that, of course, with the different Chaos Gods and Undivided. I'm also going to be starting to do that for different Space Marines and other factions as well. Some of them it's easier than others, and I hope to have one of those out soon as well, so look forward to that. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.